Hi, I'm Kevin Gallo. I work on the Windows Developer Platform, and I'm excited to talk about what we can do to help developers build exciting and awesome experiences.
Hi, Kevin. I do get the question a lot now with PBAs. Where does that fit in the MAUI story?
I think there are a few options developers have. If they really have a website that really is adequate, they don't really need access to native code, they like the web experience, but they want to kind of be able to launch from the start menu, they want to be able to have it be in its own window and feel like its own experience, PWA is a great option. On the other hand, if you want to really leverage the native platform, whether it's on iOS, Android, or Windows, and get kind of a native feel and native controls versus a web experience, then MAUI allows you to build an application that you write it once. You write to their UI framework, you write to .NET. Really, also a skills difference. So if you really want to be a client .NET developer, MAUI is your solution. But you also get those native controls. They'll build on top of WinUI on Windows, and they'll build on top of native platforms on iOS and Android, really with one UI framework head. So that's kind of like the trade-off you need to make. And other times, if you also want some web content, you can also use a web view inside of a MAUI app to mix in web content with native content. The PWA for pure web content in its own frame, not in the browser. MAUI if you want a cross-platform with customized heads, as well as the ability to embed HTML.
Another question I have that's really dear to my heart as an ISV is what should ISVs targeting Windows be thinking about as they move their applications toward the future or to prepare it for what's coming down the road?
So in my mind, there's a few things that I always think about. And so everything will vary based on what you're building. One, I care about user experience. I want my app to feel responsive, to feel exciting, and customers to be delighted. So I always tell people, look at our feedback, what we've learned, and it doesn't apply perfectly. You have to kind of adapt to what your customers are looking for. But I always build for multimodal touch, mouse, keyboard, even game control if it's appropriate. And so I build for new and that natural user interface. I'm starting to optimize around AI. I tend to find that you can use AI or just intelligence in general, ML for to help users be productive in what they do. Always help them. What they really want is the least friction to get their tasks done. And how can I help them? Even just autocomplete, very simple thing in line that helps every user see it in context of the task. So animations. There's a few things that I always try to place in my apps that give people delight and enjoy them and be productive or have fun. And so I think AI is a good tool there. Visual rejuvenation, like we've said, is typically a modern concept and experiences. I always think, and I like my apps to be roamable. I want my apps to save state in the right way. So I always care about where the state is. What am I going to roam between machines? What's in the cloud that I'm going to store that goes with me? What do I want to be able to customize on per device? This matters to you. They don't want to have to go do that work, especially if they're going to use the app a lot. And most people want their app used a lot. Allow that customizability. I always start with I like nav view. I must always start with a navigation view. Then I always put settings. I make sure my settings are rationalized with how they can configure their application. Then I start to design what do I want in the cloud, what do I want in the client, how I'm going to optimize it, and then it's really where am I going to steal some code from? Like, like don't spend time on the stuff you don't need to differentiate. Spend your time on what your customers expect to be differentiated, unique around your app. And that I think is one of the most important pieces. That also dictates the technology. Where can I get the most best lift? What is out there that I can leverage and learn from so that my app is better? And so that's a little bit general concepts about how I go about figuring out the best app that I can build for my customers. And I do think you have to always deeply understand what your customers do. One of the reasons I build apps is I deliver APIs to developers. I want to understand if my developers are struggling. I'll say very blunt feedback. I don't want to say something on stage that really isn't true. Well, this is easy. And I'm like, oh God, it took me 5 hours to figure it out. That wasn't easy. Or 3 hours to search for it and find the one place to write documents better. So I do think that dictates a lot about what app and what technologies I see. And really how efficient can I be? What can I leverage and learn from? And never start from. I don't think starting from scratch is ever a great idea. Start from something you can leverage. There's something of everything in the world right now. When I grew up young, there was not. We had to write a lot from scratch and read the stuff. You know, now leverage something that someone else has built. Read it, learn it, look on GitHub. There's got to be someone that's done something similar that you can leverage, and then spend time on it.
With Visual Studio 2022 coming for ARM, are we now seeing ARM as a first-class citizen in the development game?
Absolutely. Yes, it's funny. I don't know if we actually said that word. I was debating that word. Because people were like, what's first class mean? And so and I was like, I'm not going to define the word. I just defined it. But I think for a lot of us who've been, in the space for a while, we know what first class support is. Just like it's first class language support versus, kind of tertiary support. It kind of works the ecosystem, kind of fills in the gaps. No, here we're going to make it first class, and ARM development will be first class. From cloud to client, we want to make sure that Visual Studio, all the pipelines, all the stuff we're doing with the ICD, and ARM even in the cloud. Like we're looking at this across the board. ARM is a critical part of the hardware ecosystem, and it will be significant in our investment. So you'll see, I think, more and more. Hopefully, one day, just like x64 and x86, nobody asks me the question anymore. Our goal is to never get asked a question. It just works and does exactly what you think it does. So when I'm there, you'll let me know. I'm sure. Like, hey, I don't even have to ask you anymore because it's find the difference. That would be the goal.
Awesome. And you actually touched on something with speaking about developing for the cloud. With all of these announcements with regards to ARM and GitHub, can we say that Windows is the platform for developing for web and cloud native solutions?
That is also our goal. Our goal is that Windows is the solution for building for everything. We want developers to love our product, and it's not just about the development tools, it's also about the experience. Things are optimized for how a developer works, how they use the product, and we are going to continue to heavily invest there to really delight developers to use Windows as their product. Whether you target Windows or you target the cloud or any other device or system. We just love developers, and we think the product should be for them. In some ways, we're building for ourselves too. I mean, a lot of us that are developers at Microsoft, and so we love it. And if places where we miss, let us know. We really want to, help optimize the product across the board.
Yeah, I really appreciate the questions and the answers because you really see over the past few years, you see that there's been a significant amount of effort put towards closing that gap, and the feedback has been listened to. Like, I'd say there's no real reason against getting started and targeting everything because y'all have made that possible.
I'll close. Thank you. I appreciate not just chatting with you guys, which I really enjoy, and having a conversation, but just your advocacy and your excitement and coming in, taking the time to use our product, give us feedback, talk to your communities. We really do believe in the open community, the open platform, open store, open hardware ecosystem. This is important to us. And having this conversation, I know you have other time to go. Really appreciate having that time with you.